What up, homies? Welcome back to DIY with Fiona. So this week we are doing shibori dyeing. So what is shibori dyeing, you may ask? Shibori is a traditional Japanese technique that uses indigo dye and relief techniques to create beautiful patterns on fabric. I've been wanting to do this for a super long time, and my friend just sent me a dyeing kit and I couldn't wait to get started. There's so many patterns and techniques you can do. So today I'm going to show you the whole dyeing process and some really simple techniques I use to create these beautiful patterns. This was so much fun to create, so I hope this inspires you to do some dye projects for your home as well. So this t-shirt is one of the things I dyed during that whole process, and it turned out really cool with this cool gradient effect and kind of like a honeycomb pattern in the front and on the back. So stick around and see all the DIYs. So here is the shibori dyeing kit. We aren't using natural indigo dye from a plant, which is the traditional Japanese method, but this dye will get us a pretty blue for our projects. So this kit comes with the dye and a color stay fixative to help the dye stay on your fabric better. Some acrylic squares, cord for tying, elastics, and plastic gloves. It also comes with an instruction manual that explains the dyeing process and gives you some examples of relief techniques you can do. If you want to get one of these kits, all the supplies are linked in the description below. I was dyeing quite a few things, so I got some extra supplies like more rubber bands, twine, and clothespins. There's so many things you can dye, which you'll see what my friends end up dyeing later on in the video. But I decided to dye some cloth napkins, a cushion cover, and an old white t-shirt. Make sure you wash everything before you dye. The first pattern we're creating is the triangle itajime. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's a shape resist technique. First, you'll accordion fold your fabric by folding it back and forth several times. Then you'll grab a corner and fold it in to create a triangle, and keep folding it back and forth till you reach the end. I cut out some cardboard pieces into triangle shapes to use as the color resist. Then I just put it on both ends of the fabric and used rubber bands to hold it in place. The next technique is super simple. We'll be doing our accordion folds again. Once you've folded your fabric to the end, rotate it 90 degrees and accordion fold again till you have a small square. Then you'll grab your clothespins and clamp the edges in place. I did 2 clamps on each edge. Next, we'll be doing the kumo, which is a pleat and bind technique. Again, we'll be folding it 3 times with an accordion fold. Then you'll get your rubber bands, grab the long edge and tie a rubber band on it. Two inches down on the same edge, tie another rubber band and keep doing it along that edge. Then on the other edge, we'll do the same thing, but tie the rubber bands in between the rubber bands you tied on the other side, creating kind of a zigzag pattern. Once everything is tied up, then grab a couple more rubber bands and compress your fabric together and tie it in place. The Arashi pole wrapping technique will create a really cool effect. You can use a PVC pipe or the end of a broomstick. I disassembled my Swiffer and used the pole. Starting with the corner of the fabric, you can start rolling the fabric onto the pole until all the fabric is wrapped up onto the pole. Grab some twine and tie a knot at the end. Then start wrapping it over the fabric. Once you've wrapped a few inches, scrunch the fabric with the twine down and then keep wrapping the twine and scrunching the fabric until you reach the end. Scrunching it will create an interesting wavy striping effect. You can play with how far or dense you wrap the twine around the pole to see what different patterns it'll create. Then tie a knot at the end and your Arashi piece is ready for dyeing. The twist is a really easy pattern to create. I just grabbed two opposite corners of the fabric and started twisting until it became completely coiled up. Then I grabbed some rubber bands and tied it together and made sure it held in place. So for the cushion cover, I did the Itajime technique again, but created a square shape instead of a triangle shape. Again, I did the accordion fold and then rotated it 90 degrees and did an accordion fold again until I ended up with a square shape. I could have used the acrylic squares that came with the kit, but I ended up just cutting some cardboard squares and that worked too. I sandwiched the fabric between the two cardboard pieces, grabbed my rubber bands, and tied it in place. The honeycomb technique isn't a traditional shibori technique, but just a pattern I found on Instagram, but I liked the way it looked and decided to try it for myself. Get a piece of twine and start at the base of the shirt and start rolling up until you reach the top. Then grab both ends of the twine and scrunch the t-shirt. Once the t-shirt is scrunched, I tied the ends together. Here are all my pieces ready for dyeing. And here we have mine and my friend's fabrics folded, tied, scrunched, and ready to go. So we just followed the instructions from the manual that came with the dye kit. We mixed half a bottle of dye with 3 gallons of hot water. We had a separate bucket of water that we dunked our fabric into first to get it wet and then put it in the dye solution. Even with the amount of fabric we were dyeing, we were able to fit everything into these large buckets. You might need to move a few things around to get everything into the bucket. The good thing about doing this outside was we weren't afraid of spillage. We probably should have done this before we put the fabric in, but adding a cup of salt will enhance the dye, so we mixed that into the solution. We wanted the color to be saturated as possible, so we left the fabric in there for 20 minutes. Then we took everything out and transferred it to a second bucket, also 3 gallons full of hot water, and we added half the bottle of the Color Stay fixative. The Color Stay dye fixative helps to enhance the color and reduce bleeding. We kept all the fabric in this solution for 20 minutes also. The bottle said it would help if we agitated the water while the fabric was in there, but it was so full that all we could do was get a stick and swirl it a bit. After that, we had a bucket full of cold water and we put the fabric in there to rinse it. Now it's time for the reveal. I'll leave the sound on from that day so you can hear our excitement with all our oohs and ahs.
Ooh! Oh, that's cool. Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Pretty.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
We were so excited every time we untied or unclamped something and saw what pattern we got. Everything turned out so gorgeous and it was so fun seeing what people created with scarves, some clothing items, wall hangings, and even face masks too. Here's all our creations laid out, basking in the sun. So I want to show you exactly how each of my pieces turned out. Here is my Arashi pole wrapping result. It created a cool gradient and interesting striping. The clamps created interesting dots all over the fabric. The Kumo Pleat and Bind technique created a cool mirrored effect that kind of looks like an ink blot painting. The Itajime technique created geometric triangles. And the last one, which was a twist, turned out pretty random. So here are some ways you can use your dyed pieces in your home. You can use them as napkins, turn them into framed pieces, and display your cushions along with other throw pillows. Hope you guys enjoy this whole dyeing process. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. We had so much fun creating these patterns. Every time we took it out of the water and revealed the pattern, it was so exciting. Comment below on which one was your favorite pattern. They all turned out so beautiful. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe if you guys want to stay notified on when my next video comes out. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!